Yeah, guys, I've launched another session. Please do join and do let me know if the view of the uh, camera is fine, or otherwise I'll just pull it. We need a sound to confirm, so let me play some music for some time. Yeah, hi Vidyut and Vikrant. Do let me know if I need to change the view of the camera. The same sound is coming. Do let me know if the sound or any problem that occurs. The phone got hanged and the session got concluded automatically. So yeah. Yeah, it does actually. Autofocusing, it happens. We cannot switch off that. So let me check once how the screen is coming. You will be able to see, it seems. Right. Let others join. We'll wait for some more time to start our USA journey. So by now in Facebook group that article is live at 7 o'clock. It was scheduled. You'll be able to see that. Right? Who all have joined? I see 4 people have joined, but if they can just type something. Okay, speed, density, heat. Vidyut asked, please say more about speed, density, and heat. See, life is motion, right? So, if you remember that image, this one, the blood is flowing, and that makes us alive. This is as simple as that. Now, this flow of the blood should be in a certain speed, which should not be more or less. Both will be a problem. But the chances of having more speed is very less. The chances of having more speed is very less. But chances of having lesser speed is more. The chances of having lesser speed is more. Now, due to that reason, we need to understand these three concepts: density, speed and heat. And what governs are these factors, the speed factor. The density is foremost thing, because the toxemia means something added in the blood and which make the blood thicker, and that thickness means higher the density, and higher the density, higher the mass, and higher the mass will reduce the speed. Just take anything. This is a lesser speed, I can just push it like this, but this is a higher, this is a lesser mass, this is a higher mass. I cannot push it easily, but I can push it easily, right? So your heart is pumping it with the help of the vitality at a certain force, giving a certain pressure to it. Now, when the mass is higher, then the speed will be lowering. And this has got a connection with the temperature also, heat also. If the mass is higher, then the temperature will go down. And we understood that states of the matter, solid, liquid and gaseous. To the solid, if you apply heat, it becomes liquid, further gaseous on the application of heat. So heat is needed. Now, if the mass is higher, then the heat content will be lower, because the same heat is distributed in the higher mass. We need to understand that. So then the heat content, the average heat content will be very less, and that will reduce the temperature of the body. So that's how the density, heat, the density, speed and heat are connected. Yeah, so hope that got clarity, right? Yeah, so Raki asks, sir, elaborate on heat. So heat is that the heat content, we understand the vitality is fixed. Now, the same vitality, when it is distributed over the atoms, available atoms, if the atoms are more mass, then the heat distribution will bring the temperature lower, right? This is a simple physics. Right, so do let me know if I can start. Anybody else will join? SP has joined, Raki has joined, Vidyut, Vikrant. Who else? I see 8 people as number, but when we have fever, the heat is more. Yes. So when we have fever, Raki asked that when we have fever, the heat is more, because the vitality is being spent on increasing the temperature. We have enough conserved vitality. Now the body senses that now it is the time to liquidify the toxin and throw it out. So all that vitality is used to reduce the density of the toxin so that it is thrown out of the body. So the toxins are solid in nature. Now you see all the eliminations are liquid, gaseous or semi-liquid. Starting from the mucus to the urine to the sweat, perspiration, everything is in a lesser, denser form. So for that you need heat. So that's why in nature cure, fever is regarded as a blessing, as a reason to celebrate that you have gained vitality optimum. Now the fever is initiated, because we don't catch fever. Just to better our understanding, we tell that I catch fever. That's a misinterpretation. The body, after a lot of internal calculation, increases its temperature to raise it, to do that elimination, effective elimination. So we need to understand that. Yes, yes, yes. So we'll keep on discussing on that aspect, but let's, for the purpose on which we relaunched a session, let's come to that point. USA, United States of America. So, unconditional self-acceptance. What are we? What is the purpose of our life? If we try and understand that, so when I say the purpose, it is not mission. So let's understand two basic things: the purpose and mission. Purpose is a program within. Purpose is a program within, and mission is an intention. It is sketched. It is automated. So we cannot deny this program for which we all are automated. The mission actually differs person to person, situation to situation, right? And intention is the primary force behind creating a mission of life. So the purpose of life is same for all of us, and we will have exclusive topic on this under mind management. Now, the unconditional self-acceptance, when we talk about, that means we are thinking about rejection as well. When we are not able to adopt USA, that means we are rejecting ourselves. And from where this sense of rejection comes? Because of the confusion of the objectives of the mission. When we don't have clear intention, irrational pattern of thought pattern of thinking, we actually feel rejected by ourselves. So here we need to understand that the individual is ever changing. We all are. What I was yesterday, I am not today. What I will be tomorrow, I am not today either. So this is suppose now. This is the past and this is the future. Now we every time change. So the change is only the constant thing in this nature. So we are changing this way. This way. This is the zero. This is the 0 point. Now, when we accept this fact that the things are changing and the present experience is affected because of few decisions in the past or few choices in the past. Now, since we very much relate with our past, relate in the sense this person is me, we think. We think this is also me, this is also me. So that past me has done some act because of which my now me is suffering. So you need to understand the relation between the past me and the new me. Because it is connected, we make the past me responsible for the experience of the new me. Since we feel related, it was me only who did this. Now, let's make it now me. So past me and now me. Now the objective is the improvement, right? So here we need to bring that purpose aspect here. Purpose is, the single purpose is growth. Nothing but growth. And how do we define growth? Growth is not a positive or negative thing. This is a neutral thing. We need to understand. Though it sounds like so-called positive, but it is a neutral program. It is not an opinion or an intention. The growth is a programmatic aspect of our life. Right? So if you saw a seed, it will grow as a plant, then a tree, then further it will bring flowers or fruits. This is what is growth. We cannot pull it or push it. The plant will die. Right? So everything in the nature is programmed to grow. We need to understand. Everything in the nature is programmed to grow. And for mankind, the growth is defined in two ways. Pay attention on this aspect which I am going to unfold in front of you. This is a very deeper aspect to understand the complete life mechanism. Right? So the growth here are two types. One is physical and other is cognitive. So these two growths are the primary growth that we are programmed to execute. That is the purpose of all organisms' life. Now, organisms are equipped with with 3 R's. You can make a note also, but you will get this PDF. So today the fonts are little bigger because of the LED. I am writing little bigger, unlike yesterday's or day before. So you'll get this PDF anyway. So just please bear with this bigger fonts, right? So now 3 R's are repair, reproduce and react. Repair, reproduce and react. Now these are the programs, and nature has sketched some pleasure points with respect to all these 3 capabilities that we execute. Because without the pleasure, because the organisms are by nature hedonistic. Hedonistic means pleasure seeking. So organisms are pleasure seeking as a program. So we seek pleasures, and nature has programmed us for these 3 acts and corresponding pleasure points. What are those corresponding pleasure points? For repair, the food is the primary pleasure point. For reproduce, sex is the primary pleasure point. And for react, mindfulness is the primary pleasure point. So these three pleasure points actually motivates us or attracts us to execute these three capabilities. And I am repeating, this is not an opinion. This is the program. This is the fact of the nature, how the nature has constructed all of us, including all the organisms. It's not limited to the mankind. Yeah, definitely the mindfulness is a kind of execution, the special execution that mankind opts to do, but it cannot be claimed that others do not do that. So now you see, the food is a point of attraction to execute repair and growth both, and then the sex and mindful also. If you have this understanding, then I'll unfold that theory that I was talking about. This is a little deeper theory in terms of the level. This is called Union Unison theory. This is called Union Unison theory. Let me copy this to the notepad. So this is, you see the cone here, the triangular cone. This is the birth point. This is the point of birth. Now this is the complete whole life. The first phase is named as UNO phase. UNO means one, and where the food is the primary aspect or primary attraction till the time the physical growth gets complete. Because the primary purpose is the physical growth. So at this point, physical growth completes and the food becomes lesser attractive ideally. I'll come to the malpractices. So at this point, the food should become lesser attractive because of the next phase starts, which is the union phase. And that union phase is a sexual phase where the sex would become the most attractive activity, because the reason behind it is the procreation. If you notice, I have not used the word reproduction, I have used the word procreation. The procreation never stops after the birth of your child. When you bring an offspring, then also it goes on till the death of either of parents or the child. Procreation is such a beautiful experience rather. And we can relate to ourselves, and that continues till the physical growth of the child. Offspring. Ideally, that should stop here when the child's physical growth is completed, be it one single child or the last child if you have multiple children. Now, okay, SP says that we should focus on the iPad, but let's not break the continuity. Let me complete this particular, and in any way we are sharing this with you in PDF format. So when the union phase is over, ideally, so I have not started with the malpractices which will connect the USA concept. Now ideally this phase should stop and the unison phase should start after the union phase. Now what is the meaning of unison? Unison is working simultaneously, being apart. So the universe is working simultaneously. For example, this very shallow example I am giving. Okay. Now I understand the rationale primarily. The pointer needs to be, so I can point out here also. So I'll repeat whatever I have told so far. This is the point of birth, and this green portion that you see is the UNO phase, where UNO means one, when you took the birth and you are taking care of the physical growth of yours. So the food is the primary point of attraction in the UNO phase. And when the physical growth completes, then the food, the attraction, the primary attraction should be shifted to sex. And when the physical growth of your child is complete, then the focus will go on something else, and which is definitely the mindfulness. And I was actually explaining the meaning of unison. Unison is the working together, the universe is working together. For example, the shallow example that I was going to give, this optical fiber network that we got installed yesterday, it was actually earlier it was not there in our locality. So these optical fibers are being spread, which has got lot of benefits also, less radiation and all those stuff, with a limitation of non-mobility, because one has to be fixed in a place to do the activity, use the services. Now this particular act of installation of optical fiber took just 3 hours. Got the cable entered, they drilled it, they put that router, they put that adapter, and it's done. But can we claim that it is just a 3 hours of work? Because when I was talking with the people, those who came for the installation, they said they have started their business in other parts of Agra 3 years back. So the things were going on parallelly. Without my conscious knowledge, they were working for me. Unless they have reached up to a point, they couldn't give me the connection yesterday. So that reaching to that point contributed to my benefit yesterday. So when we can dialectically analyze these aspects, we cannot deny any kind of work that is happening parallelly in this universe. We are being contributed. So this is the sense of unison. When you understand that and you can relate with the understanding, with this understanding, then you find that everything in this universe is relatable. Everything in this universe is relatable. In the UNO phase, you were considering yourself as the primary. In the UNO phase, you were considering yourself as the primary. In the union phase, you were considering you and the offspring, which is an extension of your physical physical existence, because you have contributed your seeds to have that offspring in this universe. So in this phase, you were considering that you and your family, we name it as family, you and your offspring and the person who has united with you to bring that offspring are the world. But in unison phase, you are actually connecting to the universe to sense that relatability. And that is what is the real mindfulness. And if you notice, the unison phase started at the birth also, but it gets prominence when you complete these. Right. So I was talking about the ideal process. Now I'll be connecting with the USA. I'll be connecting with the USA. If you deprive yourself from the right food, if you deprive yourself from the right food, of the right food at the phase of if you deprive yourself of the food at the phase of then you actually crave for food for whole of your life. You feel unsatiated. You feel unsatiated. And if you don't have right sense of sex, if you irrationally execute sex in this phase, then whole the life you crave for sex. And the malpractice of unison is well known. The drug abuse, the alcohol abuse, all these things are nothing but replicating. We are trying to replicate the mindfulness with the substance abuses. So here, chances of irrational execution of all these pleasure points actually make us unhealthy, physically and psychologically both. We need to understand the gravity of the hedonistic characteristic and malpractices of hedonistic characteristic. Now you will be able to relate these things seeing around. You will find people those who are actually craving for food at older age. You inquire with them, find out their food habits, you will find that they did not have right food at the right moment. So if a child is fed with junk food at the stage of that child when will grow up will crave for food lifelong. But if you feed a child the right food, then the attraction towards the food will diminish when the child will achieve a physical growth, optimum physical growth. Because after a certain time, the physically we don't grow. Then the cognitive growth starts. And the real cognitive growth is the independence. When you feel yourself independent, we don't need constant and consistent support of my parents or the guardian or the supporter or the mentors. That time you are actually cognitively grown, matured, and then your growth starts independent. So this is a deeper aspects. Now coming back to the USA. Sorry. This USA aspect, when you find that irrationality in taking up the pleasure points, the natural pleasure points for the food is, which is the simplest food and congruent with your cohesive water, with your density of the body. That is the right food. And in Nature Cure, it is proposed that 50, 35, 10, 5% of food, juicy, semi-concentrated and concentrated food, We know this by now. So those are the right food. When you keep on giving yourself the right food to yourself or to your child, then you will see that the right balance in the food attraction will appear. Otherwise, we'll be suffering from the mind hunger consistently. Right. And then coming to the understanding of sex. The sex should have a procreative association. Unless you have a procreative association, if you go into the act of sex, then it is an irrational step. Now, when I say procreative association, it doesn't mean that the number of the sex that you do, you will procreate, you will reproduce. It is not the fact. But with the person you engage yourself in sexual activity, that person should have a procreative connection with you. Before or after or during. If this is not executed, actually we go deeper on the sense of sex in the residential camps. We have not included in this syllabus, but this is very important understanding. If the time permits, then we will go on to this details later on. Now, in case of mindfulness, also the same thing. The mindfulness is arrived through dialectical analysis. If you indulge yourself non-dialectically in any of the practices to achieve mindfulness, that may make you addictive. I've seen many meditators, I'm just extending my apology, meditators who are addicted to the meditation. And that again is a problem of intention without action. So it is not only the substance abuse to achieve mindfulness, but it is also the other practices through which we achieve mindfulness without understanding the root, blindly. So those are the typical irrational practices that we opt. And now, why we did this, questioning this, is an immaturity. Because of the lack of awareness, we did this. But the moment we are aware, let's correct it. If we suffer from the guilt of the previous act, which was done by the past me, if I suffer from the guilt, thinking about the past me, will not be able to correct it. So this dialectic understanding is nothing but unconditional self-acceptance. Because you did it, that's right. But now it is a time of correction. There is a clear-cut, logical, rational understanding. We have to take the responsibility of what we have done, but we will not repeat it. Because all the time, there's a point of future and past. This should feel that I am better from this. This should feel that I am better from this. So this. So the future me should always be better than the present me. And to have that, we need to accept the past me. And that is what is the unconditional self-acceptance. Thank you. So I'll be expecting your questions on the WhatsApp group also, and here also we'll have some time. Yeah, so we have some comments. I just okay, utility. Kalyan, your Union Unison theory is amazing. Yeah, thanks ST for identifying that. Good explanation. Yeah, so if you guys have any specific pressing question, you can just post it. Otherwise, we'll go for that 1.5 minute of silence and we'll conclude the session. So let's start the silence, and by that time, if you are posting any question, we'll go ahead with that. Vidyut asked that please explain unison. Unison means working together, being apart physically, the existence wise, physical existence wise. For example, this internet communication that we are doing here. You are at your place, I am at my place, we both are connecting and making some sense. So this sense is easily understandable, that we are connecting and making some sense. But think about the guys who have developed Facebook. They are working right now also. When you and me are talking, they are working right now. And their work is contributing to our making sense also. So this way, in this universe, whatever the things are happening around are contributing to each other. When you realize that, that is the real mindfulness. That is the real unison. So you Google the meaning of unison, it says that the working simultaneously, being physically apart. So when you have that sense of unison, then your phase starts, the unison phase. It can have at the beginning also, because you see this is a overlapping cone, right? Yeah. So just contemplate on this line and do post your questions and queries. We'll stay connected and we'll see you all at 6 p.m. in the evening. Thank you.